Hi, this is Kirk, the bariatric carnivore. I was thinking about this the other day. Do you want to eat the slave food or do you want to eat the real superfoods? And the reason why I was thinking about it was I had this big thing of meat that I was cutting up, this big hunk of ribeye meat. And I like to cut my steaks thick because what's happened, something really odd. Since I've gone carnivore, I have found that I've gone from liking my steaks medium rare to absolutely enjoying them very rare. I mean, frankly, all I want to do now is just a sear on the top and nice and red on the inside. And I found that, there's a lot of carnivores that find that they now like their steaks rare or less well done than they used to. There's a lot of people that when they kind of start off, they like their steaks maybe a medium well, and they're now moving to medium rare territory. If you've been doing carnivore for a while or keto and you've noticed something similar, could you put a comment below? I mean, I'm kind of curious if other people have had the same experience, but it's been something that was noticeable to me because I don't think I would have had a rare steak earlier in my journey, but now I do. I really enjoy it. So let me know if you've had the similar experience. But let's get back to slave food versus real superfoods. And there was a discussion that I had one evening. I was out to dinner with a friend of mine, and she was, they've got quinoa, and she was all excited about it. And I was like, what's a quinoa? I'd never heard of it before. She said, it's like this really special grain that's grown in Central America, and they're considering it a superfood. So I looked up the nutritional information when we were sitting there on my phone, and it's a grain. It's like oats. And then I compared that to a ribeye. And I showed it to her. I said, well, let's look at this. Here's your superfood, and here's what my ribeye looks like. Frankly, your so-called superfood is slave food. Why in the world would you want to eat that slop? And it brought back this idea that I remember, you see it in a lot of movies, like, of King Arthur or Robin Hood and stuff like that, where people get in trouble for hunting in the king's forest and taking down deer from the king's land. And, that seems like an odd idea. Why in the world would the king worry about, protecting that stuff in his forest, quote unquote? Why? And you look at the Old English law, and they allowed the peasants to trap rabbits and small game, but the big game was always reserved for the nobility. And I couldn't quite figure out why, and I suspect it might have started because it's a matter of national security in a lot of ways. In order to protect yourself back then, it wasn't getting the most tanks, it was the quality of your warriors, the knights. You needed to feed the knights with superfood in order to make them strong. They were kind of like the NFL players at the time. You wanted them as big and strong as you could possibly get them. That was the only way you could defeat your enemies. So I think, that the big thing that they'd love to catch when they went out on a hunt was either a stag or a wild boar. Both of them provided lots of meat, lots of nourishment. And the wild boars were also a challenge to take down because those suckers fight back. So those are big deals. And there's a lot of excitement when the king brought that into court and fed his knights, and everybody got bigger and stronger. There's a peculiar scene in the show Game of Thrones where one of the main characters that was, from one of the noble houses was disguised as a peasant. And one of the guys immediately knew, she's noble born. And, it kind of struck me. It's like, how can you tell? Well, it's pretty easy when you really think about it, because the peasantry looked like they ate only vegetables and rabbits. The nobles were getting the good stuff. They were getting the superfoods. They were getting the deer, the ruminant animals. They were getting the wild boar. They were strong, and you can tell the difference. I mean, I can tell just looking across a room what you eat. I mean, if you look like most people, You eat a standard American diet, mostly processed junk food, lots of vegetable oils. It sticks out. I can tell a vegan 2 miles away because they've got skinny necks. They're sarcopenic and they got big bellies because they're bloated. They're full of gas. And I can tell people that eat pretty darn healthy. And take a look. I mean, you can spot these same trends in any other people. Take a look and say, look, are they eating slave food or superfoods? Because meat is a superfood. There's over 5,000 compounds in beef alone, most of which we haven't mapped out yet. And that's what makes you strong. It is a complete source of nutrition. It can not only nourish you, but you will flourish on it. And what's interesting to watch is people that have been doing keto and carnivore for quite a while, to watch their body composition change. They get more muscle, they get more development, they get stronger. Their gait starts to change as their body starts to behave better, more naturally, the way it's designed to do. And a lot of that just flat out comes from nutrition over time. Now, many of us are noble born. And the way you get to look like you're from noble born is eat right. Eat meat. Makes you stronger, makes you healthier. And then, frankly, it tastes so much better. This is Kirk, the Bariatric Carnivore. If you like this message, if you want to hear more of it, if you want to be part of this tribe, please hit the like, subscribe button. It's helpful. It really is, as far as helping me get this message out to more people. And it tells the algorithm, basically. It tells YouTube other people want to get healthy too.